All right. There he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. The one and only David Furones. And by the way, folks, don't forget, we got a lot of storm issues going on right now. A lot of people dealing with a lot of bad stuff, flooding, damage, water damage. Please call Welt Rheaume. They have their own adjusters. You will not even have, right now, the insurance companies are loaded with phone calls as it is. You're going to be like 80th in line, anyways, for an adjuster. Don't even bother calling them. Call Welt Rheaume first. They send their adjusters. Then they call the insurance company for you. Trust me, you're all good. You won't even have to deal with that headache. They'll handle it all for you and work the insurance company. Call them 954-966-4646 wherever you're at in Florida. South Florida, West Coast, Central Florida. I don't care. Call them and ask for Jeff Welt. 954-966-4646. All right, my brother. How about that? The Cats are one win away from the Cup. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. So one win away, first time in franchise history. We know the 96 team got swept. The last year's team lost in 5. So, I mean, to be this close and 3-0 lead, which is in hockey, it has happened where a team has blown it, but still very rare. So you can feel it. You can feel it in South Florida that we're finally getting a championship of some kind for the first time in 11 years.
Yeah, and one of the things that in the past, the 90s team, you kind of knew you were happy to be there. So it wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year, it took a 4-string goaltender to get you into the playoffs. So it was kind of flukish. You know what I'm saying? And it reminds me of the Heat's runs the last couple of years with Jimmy Butler in the bubble. And then last year where you get an injured Embiid and you avoid Giannis and everything falls into place. And it's like, you're really not a championship caliber team. But, hey, things went your way and you got there. That's not this team, dude. That's the beauty of this one. This is a team that looks like they are the best team in the league. That's what they look like. And they look like they belong. And they clearly look like they deserve the championship over everybody else.
Yeah. Every series looked like the better team. And sometimes in hockey, the better team doesn't win. You can get that puck luck to go, but they have the combination of getting both. They score the goals when the opportunities present themselves, and they flat out win these games, and they play that physical brand. So it's stopped that high flying Edmonton attack and Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, all them.
And let me tell you something. They are now creeping into somewhere. Because we've talked about this on the show that they're doing the same thing the 72 Dolphins did, that they lost the first time, and now they're coming back to win it, and maybe they could win it again like the Dolphins did and like the Heat did, right? But at the same time, this is not a flukish team. So now they could be considered, with the 70s Dolphins, with the 96 Canes or the 2001 Canes or the 97 Marlins or something. When you start or the 2011 Miami Heat, when you start talking about some of the greatest teams in the history of South Florida, it's hard to argue with Zonka. Undefeated is undefeated, right? But after that, the Panthers are going to have an argument to be in somewhere there, number 2, number 3, or whatever in the history of South Florida sports. So that's how special it is. That it may not take down the Dolphins, but they're right there, dude, as one of the great teams in South Florida history.
Yeah, the potential of a little mini dynasty there, at least. So we've had a few of those. Whether it's the 80s Canes, the 01 Canes was such a great team. Those 72 Dolphins that went undefeated. 73 Dolphins, some argue, might be even better. Some, just like a lot of people I remember in 02, and I was alive for this one. A lot of people argued the 02 Canes were a little bit better than the 01 Canes, even though they did end up losing. According to Terry Porter, the official in the end zone there at that Fiasco Bowl. But yeah, I mean, the Marlins had their World Series some 6 years apart, and then also it was like a rebuild to then get to the second team. But And the heat of the last decade were just phenomenal, obviously, with the big three. So Panthers can put themselves in that category in South Florida history.
Yeah, man. It's pretty
They're
damn
built
special.
for it. Yeah.
Huh?
They're built for it. They're built for
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, this is real, bro. They've got real stars, dude. That's the thing. The Dolphins made a heck of a move yesterday, picking up Calais Campbell. And I see Oscar Rojas, you're back. I never said non-factor, my brother. What I said was at the beginning of free agency, it's probably not the move you want to make. That's the part you can go back and check the video, audio. It's all there. It's all recorded. But anyway, one of the things that I love about what Chris Grier is doing is his timing on most of this stuff. Doesn't matter who the hell we're talking about. He does not panic, dude. Does not panic for the person that wants money. Does not panic for the person that's out in, 80% of the media had Miami trading for Dalvin Cook or dying to offer him a contract. They were neither. You know what I'm saying? The guy, there is no panic. And so a guy like Calais Campbell, you don't get early in free agency, right? Now, where everything's calmed down, the money's dried up, there aren't a lot of great options. Now he has to make an adjustment and he has to say, okay, I have to choose a situation because there aren't a bunch of people lined up to give me money. And Chris Grier knows that no state tax, great situation, a Miami guy. Okay, I've got a lot on my side. It's just the timing of when he does all this kind of stuff. It just makes a lot of sense. Agree or disagree on that?
Yeah. I thought you were going to say the timing of making this move at puck drop to the Panthers game 3. I had gone out to go watch the game, and I'm like, oh shit, am I going to have to write this right now? Luckily, my colleague Chris Perkins, he was at home and watching the game too, but he was able to just write our article to cover the news. So while I was on Twitter, just seeing it all go down.
Hey, slacker, you're supposed to walk around with a laptop the entire time. Okay?
Yeah, right. I got no time to myself, especially with these Dolphins.
You're out on a date. You're traveling wherever it is you are. You got to have a laptop on you, bro. The entire showering. You got to have it all right there. Yeah. You got to be prepared, young man.
Oh, I mean, I've totally had my phone like right outside the shower, and then like if it buzzes, I'm like, what is that? What's going on over there? And then go back or like have to tweet out something as it breaks, or like confirming news and all that. So yeah, I mean, life of a sports writer, you always got to be on your toes, even a week after mandatory minicamp. And because I mean, for the Dolphins, we've talked about it. They had this $18.5 million come in from the Xavier Howard money post June 1. So there was always going to be this second wave. So getting these veterans that have remained available, Marcus May at safety, like we talked about before. Now it's Calais Campbell, and Calais is a move I absolutely love, and we've talked about him before this happened. We've mentioned him on this show. Just the connection, of course, having the college career with the Miami Hurricanes to then now possibly finish off his NFL career back in Miami. And now at 38 years old, I mean, a guy that can set the edge. He's put up the sack numbers in his career, 6-time Pro Bowler, former Walter Payton Man of the Year, another big voice in the locker room that's going to be a tremendous leader at his age. I mean, shit, he's older than the Dolphins D-line coach, Austin Clark. At 38, he's older than him. So that's another coach, but in the locker room that you have basically. So, I mean, Calais Campbell's a guy that I absolutely love, and I can't wait to get to covering him. And I wrote right before this happened on Wednesday how do the Dolphins have enough around Zach Sealer on the D-line? Yeah, they brought in all these guys. It's going to be a rotation, and even with Calais Campbell, it'll still be a rotation of these guys to fill in for the production. You can't really replace Christian Wilkins in that way, but just to keep bodies fresh around Zach Sealer. And now Calais Campbell is another one of those guys that you already know what you're getting, so you didn't need him in all these OTAs and minicamp, and now you get him at this point. And then he'll have his time to then just ramp up as he sees fit in training camp, and then I think he's going to be of great value to this franchise.
I think on this show, I'm not sure, Sean, but I think there's a host on the show that said these teams like to stay away from old players during the offseason. They don't want them in mini camps. They want to sign them for training camp because they might get injured, and then they Oh, wow, interesting how Calais Campbell did not have to attend any mini camps or anything. Interesting how that works out, huh?
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing that we do on the show. We kind of inform you about how things are worked in the NFL. But anyway,
They say the mini camp is mandatory, but there's the workaround. You just don't join a team during mandatory mini camp sessions, and then you don't have to go to one. So it's perfect.
Last year there was a lineman from the year before. I forgot the guy's name, and they didn't bring him back. And one of the things in the offseason, early on, I forgot what the guy's name, and they were asking me, and I kept telling them that they didn't think his body would hold up, so they didn't want to take any chances. I think he signed with the Bills or somebody else after. I forgot who it was.
And they Solomon Kinley? No, that's not who you're talking about, right?
No, I don't think it's Solomon Kinley. From the year before last. Yeah, going into last season's off season. Not it was like 2 years ago he played, and then forget it. Anyways, but my point was that was one of the things that was the knock on him, that they were worried because he was like a 31-year-old, 32-year-old. He had a lot of mileage on him, and he had some injuries in the past and all. And they were like, if we sign him late, that kind of stuff, because that's what they do. Now, let's get to the important stuff. So there was a lot of panic about losing Christian Wilkins. Now, you said in one of your answers you said you can't replace him. But the addition of Calais Campbell, you do replace some of him now, don't you? Because
exactly.
In situational moments, he's not going to play the amount of snaps that Christian Wilkins played. I mean, give me a break. And by the way, that's not too smart to play your players like that anyway, but that's the way they did it. Even Sealer's not going to play the amount of snaps he played last year, the way Weaver is going to rotate guys. But in situational, places, in third downs, short and, third and short, second and short, whatever, fourth and short, you're not going to lose a lot anymore from Wilkins to Calais Campbell in those kind of moments. Okay, so that's where, with all the panic, you've kind of done a better job of at least replacing it a little bit now.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, what I meant is you're not going to replace them body for body, because that's why Christian Wilkins did demand the money he got, and also why at that price the Dolphins aren't willing to just pay him that price, because also now with Anthony Weaver, he also has a philosophy of rotating guys, keeping them fresh. So when you do add now a Calais Campbell, and you already still have a Zach Sealer, and then let's not scoff at the other guys that they brought in. Sure, they're kind of like rotational pieces. It's not like anyone's a surefire top caliber defensive lineman, but guys that are fringe starting level, that are quality guys, like Benito Jones, who was with the Dolphins before. He became a starter in Detroit. I remember I was at owners meetings, and the day when they had all the NFC coaches around, and then hearing from Dan Campbell, he was like, we got him from Miami. And then now he goes back to Miami. You're welcome. We made him better for you guys, and now you guys are getting a better product than when he left the first time. Tier Tart could be a quality pickup there. I know Jonathan Harris, who also. So I mean, all these guys, and Neville Gallimore, of course, Dallas Cowboys.
Somebody in Dallas. I got a guy in Dallas that's a fan of his.
Okay.
On the team. I'm not talking about a reporter. I'm talking about somebody in the building. And he told me, dude, he's got a little something to him that if they can get it out of him, he'll be able to help them out. I'm a fan, he told me. He didn't tell me he was a great player or anything like that. Right. But he goes, man, he's got a chance to really help out if everything goes well. So we'll see on Gallimore, because that's the thing, dude. And maybe that's a sign of things to come with Weaver. And you know how the philosophy for this front office is, we're not paying running backs. we're going to have a running back by committee type of thing, and it's been proven. Mostert scored 21 touchdowns. Did they go out and give him a $10 million contract? No. You know what I'm saying? So they're not going to give out a whole bunch of money at that position. Maybe that's kind of where we're headed now on defensive tackle. Maybe Weaver's the kind of guy that doesn't want to spend big money there. Maybe they're better off spending it on the pass rushers, and inside they have solid blue-collar guys that kind of can do the job, overall, and stuff the run and those kind of things, and fill the gaps and let the backers and let the defensive ends and those kind of guys, get to the quarterback and put some pressure. The philosophy also might be changing at that position, and maybe that's why they also weren't willing to go to $27-29 million for Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because I think some teams are starting to prioritize the interior defensive lineman, interior offensive lineman more, like going with this philosophy of building inside out. So then starting to pay those positions like premium positions. So then maybe if the market goes a little too far for those types of players at those roles, then you counter that. You say, okay, well, if people want to pay all that, because we've seen last couple of years, a lot of defensive tackles start getting these big contracts.
Wait, whoa, wait a minute. What kind of defensive tackles are getting that kind of money?
The ones that provide a pass rush.
Okay.
From the interior. Yeah.
And so that's why if you get a special guy that can get you double-digit sacks from that spot, then yeah, now you got it. But see, Chris Grier has already proven that he will pay you if he believes you're a pass rusher. And that's exactly what they told Christian Wilkins by not paying him last season is, yeah, dude, you got some sacks, but we don't believe you're a pass rusher. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at his career high numbers this past year, it was against mostly shitty teams that he cashed in on. It wasn't like it was the Buffalo sack was like the lone sack that was like against a big team.
Yeah. There's that aspect to it. Yeah.
They will pay that guy at that position if he's a real pass rusher.
Yeah. There's that aspect to it. And then I think Vic Fangio's defense benefited Christian Wilkins from that standpoint because it was a lot of the traditional four-man pressures. So a lot of the sacks, they were going to fall to him. It wasn't like, an extra blitzer is going to get to the quarterback before Christian Wilkins can, as he has to get through those big bodies at guard and center. He was going to get more opportunities. So, that's why actually both defensive tackles got up there in sacks and had career highs. And Zach Sealer, he had his 10 as well. And then you're able to keep Zach Sealer at a much more reasonable price to keep him around this year. So that's why he got his money. Christian Wilkins was going to demand the big salary. So then that's the way that went. So, he had – so I know a lot of people, especially in the secondary, a lot of the Dolphins defenders didn't love Vic Fangio's system, but one guy who can certainly thank Vic Fangio would be Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, big time. And I think Christian also had his own motivations there. All right. I am of the belief even more now as they keep signing people, they know exactly what they're paying Tua. They have to know. And by the way, the other thing that's coming is they got the cap space from X. I think they're also going to get cap space from Tua here because they're going to rework that fifth-year option number and lower that thing down too. So they're going to end up getting – that's why I think they're able to do so many moves with the rookies and everything else. I think, I'm not exactly sure what's, what the minorities of the deal that they're trying to work out on, but with Trevor Lawrence already getting his deal, you kind of know what the ballpark that he's going to be in.
Yeah, the ballpark for sure. Now, I just wonder if after Justin Herbert last year was 52.5 on the average annual value and Jared Goff got 53 this year, if they already had one number that just barely nudges them, like if it was 53.5 or if it was 54, and then now Trevor Lawrence's deal, which was a few weeks ago, as NFL Network reported, a little bit behind where Tua stood. So they passed him at some point and got it all done. Now I just wonder if Tua sees 55 for Trevor Lawrence and says, hold on, I'm going to need 55 now. Or I might want 55.5 now. If they had a number that was a little bit lower, he might want an extra mil per year or something based on that, because he says, hey, I've been at this for another year more than Trevor Lawrence. He was 2021. I was 2020. I've done everything you asked me to do. And I've actually, if you look at it, have been a little bit better than Trevor Lawrence. So, yeah, Trevor Lawrence got a playoff win. Now, it was Lawrence against Justin Herbert. Something had to give. One of them was going to get one in that game. Tua missed one playoff because he was injured himself in concussion protocol, and then his one playoff game he had to go into frigid Kansas City with half his defense out. So those aren't apples for apples comparison. But aside from everything else, Tua could stand to say, all right, now I want a little bit extra more than what we were at, because now all of a sudden another quarterback got his deal ahead of me, and he was already antsy to get his deal done, and someone who was supposedly behind him now all of a sudden got it completely done, and he's still kind of a little bit more antsy, I guess.
What about if they were already in that ballpark as it is?
Yeah, could be.
You know what I'm saying? So by the way, who's Lawrence's agent?
Ooh, Trevor. I'd have to look it up.
Look it up while we're discussing. By the way, what are you working on the Dolphins at the Sun Sentinel?
Yeah, I mean, ready for any development with Tua's contract, and then actually I'll get a chance to write from home on Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So a nice change up. I'm not in Edmonton. We have Dave Hyde traveling now. He already had his travel plan squashed for Game 3 with the weather, but he's trying to get out there for Game 4 for the potential clincher, and then I'll be also writing something from home. Okay, I just pulled it up. MGC Sports, and he's got like 4 names written on his Spotrac page.
And what are the 4?
James Corey, Kyle Strong, and
it's
Sean
definitely
Howard.
not Lee Steinberg. Right.
Say again. James Corey, Kyle Strong,
Howard, and who? Howard,
Alan Bullington.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's got 4 names.
So definitely not Lee Steinberg.
No.
Yeah. It's an agent. It's an agency, because Lee Steinberg is Tua's agent, correct?
All right. Well, right. Ryan Williams.
Right. It's Ryan. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So they got to be already in that ballpark, at that point. So I mean, I'm just wondering what are the hangups that they're because I don't believe everybody's worried about salaries. I don't think it's about the salary or the signing bonus. I think it's the other stuff, the injury protection. I think it's the roster bonuses, the guarantees, how much, what date, those kind of things. I think that's the stuff that they're working on right now. I think that the general part, there's no way you have all this flexibility and you're doing all these moves and you haven't made the most important signing. It still doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, there's that. Now, I mean, I haven't seen the contract details of Calais Campbell and Marcus May, but it's not like those are going to break the bank on what you're doing at this point. But
everything takes cap space.
Yeah,
but dude, everything takes cap space. Jordan Poyer, all your rookies, everything. So how do you know what space to take up and what space you have left? You see what I'm saying?
Some of it not so much, because it's the top 51 cutoff, and then it ends up being just the difference between who gets bumped off from the top 51 as far as how it counts toward your salary cap and who you brought in. So then some of those moves just end up being really minimal toward the cap, because it's just like someone who's already getting 1 point something just bumped down off the top 51, which is what applies toward the toward the cap space that you're filling up.
Yeah, but you've given Jonnu Smith a deal. You've given Waddle a deal. You know, there's other people that you've paid, and dude, there's no way you freely go about building your entire team around Tua without knowing what you're paying Tua, because the numbers just don't jive.
Yeah.
You got to know because it's kind of tight. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they know something we don't. It's just we like to create drama and sensationalism, but there's no way that you're doing all of this and then you're going to say, "Oh, we don't have enough money to pay him now because it's going up or this and that." It doesn't work that way. You have to know what you're paying him first, so then you know what money to work with. So now, okay, we know what you're paying. Okay, we've got the parameters. All right, now let's go do our business and go build the team around them. I think that's Tua's team working with them, actually, in the process to not only get Tua paid, but at the same time build the team around and make it the best team possible. Because it's just weird to be so freely building the team, and the biggest contract that you're ever going to hand in the history of the team still hasn't been signed. Odd.
Yeah. No, I agree with you that it's probably a lot of the minutia of the bonuses, the workout bonuses, roster bonuses, and guaranteed. All those little minor, whether it's something's fully or not fully guaranteed, all those minor details. But then I just wonder now if Trevor.
I'll give you an example. In the Lawrence,
a little more.
Listen,
it's not done yet.
Listen, in the Lawrence contract, I'll give you an example. It says $200 million guaranteed, but 142 is guaranteed fully.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's shit like that might be like they know the general number, but now they got to settle in on the other number, and things like that is probably what's being worked out. That's what I'm saying. I think they know the general number already.
I'm with you, but I just wonder if now Tua comes back and says, "Hey, I just saw Trevor Lawrence get this, and that was more than I expected for him. I'm going to need a little bit more, even if they already had that agreed upon but not signed." I just wonder.
No, it's a great point on your part if that's the case. I just kind of feel that they were already probably in that neighborhood anyways.
Sure,
look,
man,
all we're doing is setting ourselves up, at least not me, but a lot of people, especially the people that don't believe in Tua. All they're doing is just waiting to then, pounce on the team for whatever they pay him anyways, because that's the next stage. The stage that we have now is people complaining about it, and then worrying about it, and then the next stage is complaining about it. Okay, once it's done, they'll complain about the contract.
That's just, of course.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and catch his exceptional work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up on Tuesday, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Stay dry. There you go. David Furones, Welt Rheaume, 954-966-4646. You're out on the West Coast. You're on the East Coast of Florida, wherever you're at. Call Jeff Welt right now. You're dealing with the water damage. Look, a hurricane hasn't even hit us yet. And that's why I told you, forget about just hurricanes. It's storm season. And the amount of rain that can fall at any time, anywhere, it could be just catastrophic. And we saw it here over the last couple of days, and we're not done yet. We're not out of the woods, as they say. So call Jeff Welt right now so you don't have to deal with the insurance company. They will send their own adjusters, and they will straighten out your insurance company. 954-966-4646. Condo damage, homeowner property damage, business owner claims, whatever it is, you call Welt Rheaume. They will take care of you.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.